talk about the debt ceiling. I think this has been a very, very complex issue that's been in the market. A lot of people have been talking about it, and I think it's very, very complicated. I've been going through the whole entire debt ceiling for since I think 2 years ago when I actually realized about the debt ceiling. I read up about it, I read up about the history of it, and how defaulting would actually cause a shutdown in the government system. This actually happened back in 2011 when Obama actually went against the Republican controlled House of Representatives, and the whole entire government shut down for 16 days or so. Okay, so right now we're getting somewhat of the same thing. Okay, coincidentally, Obama's vice president back then was Biden. Today, Biden is the president, and we are facing the same issue again. Okay, because the House of Representatives right now is also controlled by the GOPs, the Republican at the moment. The House Speaker is Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is going to be coming out to actually deal with Joe Biden, the President of the United States, about this whole entire debt ceiling situation. So, of course, I'm going to be trying to make this simpler for people who do not really understand what this debt ceiling issue is about, so that you can kind of understand why this whole entire thing would actually make sense or don't make sense. Okay, I'm trying to bring simpler content for you guys, for people who do not really understand, put it into like simpler terms and layman terms for you guys to understand. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please drop a like down below, and also subscribe to my channel. I do upload videos every single week, 2 videos on Wednesday and on Saturdays. Alright, so let's talk about the debt ceiling. Okay, for people who do not understand about the debt ceiling, okay, first of all, this whole entire debt ceiling situation is a political thing. Okay, it's not an actual huge issue where you would actually be afraid of. Okay, because for example, if today the House of Representatives, if they do not bring up the debt ceiling, if the House of Representatives, if the Congress do not bring up the debt ceiling, what would actually happen is that the whole entire country would have to default on those loans that they actually had, and then basically the Democrats would have to have this so-called like a badge on themselves saying that they were the people who actually defaulted on the debt ceiling. Causing a default also cause a government shutdown, just like what I said before. Back in 2011, that was what happened. Okay, when that actually happens, the House of Representatives, they don't actually win anything. Okay, because they are still part of the United States, and if the government shut down, they are not exactly getting the best part of it either. Okay, usually what would happen is that the president will just have to come out and say, okay, we're going to be accepting those different conditions that you guys set up, and let's bring the debt ceiling up a little bit more again. Okay, so historically right now, the debt ceiling has been moved up 78 times. Okay, which is why when people actually hear about this number, which is a huge number, okay, 78 times, it means that your deadline has been moved up 78 times. Okay, imagine your boss giving you a project, giving you a deadline, and you have been pushing the deadline for 78 times. Ever since this was created, this whole entire debt ceiling was created, it's been pushed over and over and over and over again. Okay, kicking the can down the road. That's what debt ceiling is all about, which is so weird. Okay, so now you kind of have to understand, if that were to be the case, then wouldn't this whole debt ceiling situation be kind of null? Because if you can just keep on kicking the can down the road, then why don't we just bring down the debt ceiling all the way to say that, like, oh, you can actually borrow like a gazillion or like a bajillion or whatever the number is after trillion. I don't know. Just bring up the debt ceiling to that extent. Okay, right now they owe a lot of trillions of dollars. Okay, and they just keep on kicking the can down the road. If that's the case, why not just bring it to a bajillion dollars, where the deadline is gonna be like, if you actually hit a bajillion dollars, then we have to start talking about it again. Okay, so like I said before, this is not a huge thing where this is not an actual thing where we are talking about the debt ceiling. It's a political issue. So whoever who controls the House of Representatives, they are the one that will be giving out the different. They'll be giving out the different conditions. Okay, the whole point of having this huge debt that the United States is actually accruing at the moment is for them to actually lower down the costs. Okay, the moment they start to lower their costs in spending, then the House of Representatives will say, okay, you know what, if you guys are willing to lower your cost of spending, in your whole entire government sector. That way, we would actually allow you to actually extend your debt ceiling. So a lot of time, this is a lot of lobbying actually happening, where the Democratic Party will have to come up to the House of Representatives to say that, okay, you know what, if that's the case, then maybe I would want to cut on this bill, I want to cut on that bill, that sort of thing. And you have to understand that whoever who is in the presidential party, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, whatever it is, when they are in the presidential party on its own, the whole entire point is for you to want to continue to rule the entire country, and for you to keep on giving better bills, better incentive for your citizens. That's kind of what you're supposed to do anyway as the president, okay? So for them to actually continue to elect you for a second term, what you want to do is to actually give back all those incentives to all your citizens, okay? For example, you will say, okay, you know what, if I were to become president again for the second term, I will ensure that I will improve all the infrastructure in the whole entire US. There's going to be better internet infrastructure, there's going to be better road infrastructure, there's going to be more tax credits for electric vehicles, so that we can actually cut down on climate damage, where we can actually do more climate control and things like that. So a lot of time, that's kind of what's happening when the president is coming up with different bills. Of course, when you come up with different bills saying that you are going to be, changing up roads, you're going to be changing up, different technological infrastructure, all this actually costs a lot of money. Okay, think about it. Even for the Russia-Ukraine war, they actually put up so much money, and all these are actually debt accrued as well. Okay, it's all accruing debt by the side. Whatever US is trying to do to help Ukraine, all this different money is all debt as well. Okay, and that's why the House of Representatives is going to be taking this time to actually come out to do a lot of a bargaining. They're using it as a bargaining chip to kind of say that, okay, if that would be the case, maybe you would have to cut down your spending by 30%. And to cut down by 30%, what that would actually mean is that, okay, that means that I want the approval rating for the presidential party to go down. Because, for example, if I'm the presidential, if I'm the president and I'm promising you guys, you guys are gonna get new roads, you guys are gonna get like a 30% cut on all electric vehicle that you guys are gonna buy, you guys are gonna get better high-speed internet anywhere in the United States, we're going to be cutting down prices on housing, all these different things that I'm promising you, okay, for example. But then because of this debt limit, okay, I am currently being currently being restricted on what I can actually do, and then I have to cut spending by 30%. So whatever that I just promised to give to you, imagine that I have to suddenly cut by almost 50% at this rate, because whatever I'm promising for you, that's only a part of my cost. Okay, there's still different other costs. For example, the Russia-Ukraine, that has nothing to do with the United States. Okay, that has nothing to do with the citizen of United States. What about gun control? What about the military? What about all those different spendings? All those things are all going to be affected as well. So there are some costs that they cannot change no matter what, such as their military costs. Okay, they're not going to be changing military costs because they have been the strongest since ever. Okay, and they're not going to be letting that change. Okay, they're not going to be letting a debt ceiling change the fact that, we're going to be lowering our military budget. That's going to make them look weak, and no president in the United States ever or in the future would ever want to do so. I believe that would be the case. Okay, and if that were to be the case, that means that when there is a 30% cut in government spending, the military budget has to stay the same, which means that I need to cut somewhere else. Okay, and when that actually happens, then you kind of have a lot of things that actually get affected, which is why the House of Representatives, currently controlled by the Republican, kind of want Biden to have a lower approval rating. But then again, Biden is already having one of the worst approval rating in all presidents so far. I think he's the second currently, I think right behind Rogan, which is why it's actually crazy to see that, for a president to have this low of an approval rating, and he's still going through with debt ceiling talks. Okay, chances are, because even Kevin McCarthy, which is the House Speaker, came out to say that there is a good chance that they are going to be getting to a deal by tomorrow. Okay, so I think on Monday or Tuesday, we're most likely going to be getting the confirmation on the extension of the debt ceiling. Of course, if we do not get any confirmation on a debt ceiling and we actually do see a default, I'm telling you, this might be the recession. This might be the triggering point for the recession, which is why a lot of people in the current market at the moment, we are looking at this debt ceiling situation so closely because first of all, it happened before. Okay, it happened to President Obama before. Okay, and because if it happened to President Obama before, right now it's Biden. It's very very possible that that would be the case. Okay, and secondly, it's because we have already had so much different recessionary trends happening, and everyone is kind of afraid of it already as it is. But the thing is that the market is still holding up on its end. People are saying that earnings are not going to be good. Personally, I thought earnings are not going to be good. Earnings turn out to be alright, okay? And when earnings turn out to be alright, then people start to think, okay, then maybe there won't be a recession, for example. And of course, let's not forget that we have inflation that currently we still do not have a clear line to see when it will come back down to 2% or in any form of a deflation to actually bring down all these ever high rising prices. And then thirdly is that with this entire debt ceiling situation, okay, if this debt ceiling situation does not actually get completely removed out of the system where we don't get a clear path of extension, what that would actually mean is that means that a recession would actually still be on the table, okay, because inflation is not getting away yet. Interest rate is still going up higher and higher until we get any form of a pause or a rate cut from Jerome Powell in the next FOMC meeting. We are not sure yet. That means that we do not really have a clear path to a non-recessionary trend. So of course, right now, if we actually see the debt ceiling actually get extended, of course, that means that we are kicking the can down the road for the 79th time. And that would actually be a good thing, of course, because if you kick it down the road again, the 79th time, where we actually extended the debt ceiling again, maybe recession might actually be properly cancelled. But right now, a lot of people are gunning for the fact that right now people are thinking 80%. There's an 80% chance that there won't be a default. 80% chance that there won't be a default. But there is a 20% chance that there would be a default coming. And personally, I don't want to say that I believe that it will happen or I believe that it will not happen. But like I said, I'm just being unbiased and just explaining the whole entire debt ceiling situation. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.